From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Afternoons LALATE with a shocking developing detail about your fourth stimulus check update of 2021. In this recording, I go over the fourth stimulus check and why the president's message midday today surprised Americans but was incredible great news for you. He says because of what happened earlier today, we need fourth stimulus to go out right away. We need fifth stimulus to go out right away. In this recording, I'll go over that fourth stimulus check, the biggest single check you've ever seen in the history of this channel. It's a monthly stimulus check that starts in the month of July and goes all the way to at least December. Then I'll go over what happened today that signals it needs to go out, but also signal that the president's mindset is a little bit off, but at least for us, it's focusing to get it out the door. Then I'll cut to fifth stimulus and that SSI and SSDI reform. Why today's data showed you need it more than ever, but why the president, again, lost the message, but at least understood he wants it to come to you right away. And then I'll go over the incredible great news as the Department of Labor orders money returned to you ASAP. It's a lot of money. You're going to be excited. Let's get to it. This is Afternoons LALATE. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. I hope you're having a beautiful Friday. You made it to the weekend. Happy pre-Mother's Day. Hope you have a beautiful day. I'm so excited you're here. Thank you for joining me. This is LALATE, the most comprehensive 24-hour-a-day financial news channel reporting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video, and if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. First, we're going to go over the fourth stimulus check, how much it is, when you're going to get it, who gets it. Get that all cleared up first off. Then we'll go to what happened today in the morning and what that signals for purposes of fourth stimulus getting it to the finish line. And then we'll cut over to what the president said, where he said, we need to get this done right away. Great news for us. But his messaging showed he doesn't understand the situation at all. And then we'll turn to fifth stimulus, that incredible SSI and SSDI reform, why today's data signals it needs to be done, but why the president again said fifth stimulus needs to get done, but missed the message on that as well. I'll explain all the details, and it's absolutely a very complicated situation, so I'm going to try to make it very simple for you. All right, monthly stimulus checks on the fourth stimulus packages are coming, so says the House and Senate Democrats. The House and Senate Democrats have different approaches to the provisions, and today we saw why viewers more universally believe the Senate approach is the one that works. Why? Because the House approach gives you slow mounts over time, very slowly over time, where viewers of this channel say, I need a big hit of big money very quickly to get caught up, and then I'm good. So the House members would give you a stimulus check for the remainder of the pandemic plus 1 year. The senators would give you stimulus checks for just 6 months. And here is the big comparison and contrast. So the House members, the first month would be $2,000, and then every month thereafter would be $1,000. This is where viewers of this channel had problems with the situation today. In light of today's events, which I'm getting to in a second, they said that $1,000 a month doesn't cut it. It's too small. It's too much of a drizzle. And that basically it looks like it would pay for interest on a past due debt, that you're not even coming up and paying the bills that you owe. The senators do the approach that viewers prefer, which is come in faster with more money and get us all caught up to date. This is what Word on the Street says the senators would propose. $2,000 a month over 6 months, $12,000 for a person, or $1,400 a month over 6 months, which would give viewers $8,400. Who would get this? You would. So if you got the third stimulus check, you would. SSI or SSDI, Social Security, rail benefits, you would. Adult dependents and minor dependents would get the same amount. It's not income. It would not count for taxes. It's not a taxable event. It would start in the month of July for the month of July and continue thereafter. These are all representations from Congress. And then finally, household up to 4, so quadruple the check. Married couple, $150,000 or less, double the check, single individual, 75,000 or less, single check. There you go. That's the forced stimulus check amount. Viewers this channel today, and certainly if you're in the live chat right now, drop a comment. House or Senate? House or Senate? Which one do you think? Viewers are saying Senate because the idea of the House where we sort of drizzle little $1,000 checks slowly over time, just not enough. Even some of you are saying, hit us harder, hit us with $3,000, even faster, so we can get caught up on our bills and then we can be put closer back to whole like 2019 and be back to whole, rather than sort of prolonging it and never getting us caught up. Very, very clear position by viewers. So that's how we started the day. That's how we started the day. Yesterday, I had told you that this morning there was going to be a big number coming out. And I've been telling you about this number for upwards of a month. It's the new jobs number. What does the number mean? It means how many people took jobs in the month before. Not how many jobs were created, but how many jobs people took. Here's an example. If an employer has 10,000 jobs and no one took them, that the number would be 0. So that's how the number works. So the number came out a month ago, and it was 1 million. The number. At the time, Wall Street said the number could be 2 million. I had told you going into today's recording, I was worried of one permutation, that it was 2 million instead of 1 million, because 2 million could show we're rebounded too fastly and that there may not be a reason to give out stimulus checks. Well, the number came in, and it came in with 2 other numbers we're going to show you in a second. And the number was not 2 million, and it was not 1 million. I got it wrong. It was neither permutation. It was a third permutation. Third possibility. It came in at 200,000. 200,000? The number went on to show that there was more jobs than people and that people were not taking the jobs. Universal, this is not in dispute. It is not in dispute that there were jobs and people were not taking the jobs. The issue is why they weren't taking the jobs, which I'm not going to get to just yet. They had jobs available and they were not taking the jobs. Second number that came out was the revising of the months before number, which showed that the month before was actually not 1 million, but actually far less, showing that this problem has now gone on for 2 months. And then the third number that came out today showed the unemployment rate in the United States went worse. More people had jobs last month, quit the jobs, went on unemployment to collect unemployment insurance. Universal theme, people taking unemployment FPUC, $300 a week. To which the Department of Chamber of Commerce issued a statement very vigorously upon the news saying, this is why FPUC needs to be stopped right away. $300 a week is causing people to not take jobs, to stay at home. It also caused a series of red states, which I've been detailing over the last week, that started with Montana's governor saying, I'm stopping FPUC because people are not getting back to work. There are jobs available. They are not taking the jobs. They are taking FPUC and they're staying at home. And a series of other red states have said they would do the same. So that was what led up to what happened in the morning. Now, then came the president. Let me show you what he said and show the impact on the stimulus checks first before I do the analysis. He said, this is great news to do fourth stimulus and fifth stimulus right away. Well, that's great news for us. It's great news for us. Who cares why he's saying it? He just says it. It's reason to do fourth stimulus right away and reason to do fifth stimulus right away. Fourth stimulus is that monthly stimulus check that starts in the month of July. That's an add-on to the fourth stimulus package. And fifth stimulus is in September that has the SSI and SSDI reform coming up in the second half of this recording. Great news. It's events like this where something happens that is so universally covered. It was literally over every single broadcast news story today, the number. It was everywhere. That suddenly became the big talking point of the moment. Not Elon on SNL. It became the number one talking point of the moment. And suddenly it put stimulus right back front and center in the United States discussion. Need to get it out right away. Okay, so now let me go through the analysis of the situation. The president's comments are actually incorrect. And let me show you why. As to fourth stimulus, his comments are incorrect. He said that the number released today, he also said, as to the number released today, it shows we don't have enough jobs out there. No, the number released today is not a number of job creations. It's a number of jobs taken number. And we know the jobs are out there. People aren't taking them. Why they aren't taking them, that's up to discussion. But there are jobs. There's actually more jobs than people. They're not taking them. Moreover, his fourth stimulus package is to create jobs to build infrastructure and roads and climate and things like that 3 years from now. That's not the problem. People have bills now. They don't need jobs 3 years from now. No one's going to start laying pipes on a freeway, in 60 days from now after the bill is passed. He actually admits it. So that's really off focus. So I want you to understand that while his logic to his statement makes no sense, it's great news for forced stimulus because he's saying, get it done right away. Now, here's one of the things that you need to understand is that forced stimulus may have other add-ons, and those other add-ons may get tweaked based upon this news, but it's certainly going to take this topic to discussion front and center. Let me go over how analysts addressed the situation when they heard the news today. Jason Furman, who worked beside the president, because he was a former Obama administration official, said it's just also as much a shortage of labor, as much a shortage of labor demand. Labor demand means people not taking the jobs. If you look at April's numbers, today's numbers, it appears that there were about one worker for at least every job opening, or more jobs than people. So there's a lot of jobs out there. It's just they're not a lot of labor demand, meaning they're not taking the jobs. And then there was another report that came out and says that raising the salaries, they're still not taking the jobs. A CEO of Sergio's restaurant in Southern California, Carlos Gazito, says the problem. We've increased wages. We have about 3 different staffing agencies constantly looking for people. These people are burnt out. They're not taking the jobs. And that was addressed last night when the head of Papa John's appeared on broadcast news and said there is tens of thousands of jobs across the country for store managers that they can't fill. Another CEO appeared on broadcast news the night before and said 50% of the employees quit every few months. They can't keep people on the job. No one is taking jobs. And these are jobs where they have raised the salaries over and over again. So why people aren't taking the jobs is a topic of discussion, but there's no lack of jobs. So that is how the day started. Then the president rolled it into fifth stimulus. So let's cut to fifth stimulus and see its impact on that. That is coming up in the second half of the recording where I go over the big SSI and SSDI reform. But here are some of the other things I want to go over with you, which are really breaking across the board that have been sort of overwhelmed by this breaking news. The Department of Labor has now ordered states to return money back to you. Oh my goodness, this is incredible great news. So yes, the Department of Labor, the same department that dealt with today's data numbers, Marty Walsh, that former mayor of Boston, came out and said in the last 48 hours that states that paid you unemployment and then contacted you and said, oh, we made a mistake. We overpaid you. Our mistake, but you got to return the money right now or else. And then you return the money. Walsh's Department of Labor said that was a mistake by the states. They had no right to ask you to return money that they sent to you by mistake, no fault of your own, and that they have now been ordered to return that money to you. Wow, incredible great news. I've also had viewers ask me, what's the update on these other things? So let me go over those items because the president is not giving us an update. People have wondered, why is he not touching the subject? The subject's sort of sitting there and he's not touching it. One of them, yes, student loan debt forgiveness. I don't know how many weeks it is now. Is it 4 weeks since the memo was due? Miguel Cardona, his education secretary, was ordered to produce a memo within 2 weeks. It's now 4 weeks late, so it's almost 6 weeks since the order was given to produce a memo where the president can forgive student loan debt by executive order. Obama did and Trump did, and the memo has not been produced. Meantime, Liz and Chuck have not talked about the subject matter. Not particularly clear why it's been sort of, put under the table. Not particularly clear. The $1,700 of financial aid for college students is available at the college level. Go get it. And then the president was sort of left with sort of egg on his face, and the vice president this week, when he went around the country first talking about the wonders of the PPP program, meeting with JP Morgan Chase and other big banks and saying, we want you to do more PPP programs. It ran out of money. The president talked about the importance of business to get back to get this relief. SBA has not gone live with a $5,000 EIDL grant. And then the president has talked about the Wonders of the Restaurant grant, which has not yet paid out, and the Shuttered Venue grant, which is live. Both of them are live, but they have not yet paid out. So there is a slowness to getting money. Now, the great news for you is that I've been detailing the last few days the big money that's available for you right now. It's rent, it's utilities, it is SNAP. Rent is available. Reach out to your Department of Housing, State Department of Housing, State Hall, County Department of Housing, County Hall, City Department of Housing, City Hall, and ask for rent assistance because of COVID. It's 4 to 6 months of rent, approximately about $5,000. It's a lot of money. When third stimulus hit, I said that the biggest payout you're going to see from third stimulus is this: rent, utilities, and food. Go get it, because the rent is about $5,000. The utilities, a couple $1,000. And then the money for food, SNAP, which you reach out to the Department of Agriculture to get, is a lot of money. A family of four in Hawaii is now getting upwards of $16,000 over a year. How does that work? Because Trump and Obama have 2 executive orders which increase SNAP for 15%, 1.5, over January to December. So reach out to the Department of Agriculture to get SNAP. Reach out to those different agencies to get money for rent and utilities. And then if you have problems, reach out to the nonprofits: United Way, Salvation Army, Community Action, Catholic Charities, St. Vincent de Paul. And if you still have problems finding it, reach out to the volunteers. They're on the community page. That's news.la.com/community. They're in the pinned comment and also in the description of this video. I'll be back in 60 seconds with a big update about why the president's statements today about fifth stimulus help you with that big money coming in the fall. Of all those details coming up in 60 seconds. Stay with me. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues in 2 hours from now with Evenings LALATE. Boy, that's going to be a big broadcast. Yes, I'm back with a full slate of programming tonight. Evenings LALATE is back at 8 p.m., followed by LA Late Night, our Reverend broadcast tonight with Javita Late and Sirloin. How are you? It's a big Afternoons of Afternoons LA. Hope you've had a wonderful day. We're approaching Mother's Day, and what a best way to give a Mother's Day is to like this video. I don't know. Make sure you subscribe. We're approaching 400,000 subscribers. We're almost there. And also like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, our Casino VIP. The president's statements this morning about the jobs number then took a turn for fifth stimulus. He then said as to fifth stimulus, well, the jobs number shows that we need to send more money to the babies. And that we need to pass the American Family Plan. Okay. So let me go over the analysis for that. Much like his comments about today's numbers for fourth stimulus, it's a pep cheer, which is great to get fifth stimulus to the finish line. The message, the analysis is totally incorrect, but we can keep our mouth shut because ultimately we just want fifth stimulus to become law and perhaps be modified across the board. Fifth stimulus is getting that add-on from those Democrats. It's that SSI reform. Let me go over that right now. So they're going to increase your benefits, increase the asset limit, add an inflationary benchmark, remove the income exclusion, and remove the marriage penalty. Let me explain that, and also in the context of today's events and news and the president's response to the situation. So number one, they're going to increase your benefits. Who's you? SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, veterans benefits, seniors, survivor benefits. Raise it up to a new number. Then they're going to tie it to inflation. As inflation goes up, your benefits will go up. Now, here's what we need to know before we stop and go to the next part of this analysis. Who are these people? These are people who generally don't work. They're retirees, or they're seniors, or they're people on disability. So most of you are not part of the economics of today's number. You're not people who would be going out looking for a job generally. So let's go to the next step of the analysis, the asset cap. Here's where you are impacted. So if we're talking about multiple stimulus checks of $12,000, this could be a big issue. There's an asset cap that affects some of you that says you can't keep any more than $3,000 on hand because of a 1984 law. They want to get rid of that under the fifth stimulus package. You need to, because you're getting, a lot of money potentially under the fourth stimulus package. The next one is they want to remove the income exclusion. Okay, now this is straight on point for what happened today. The income exclusion says that people on benefits cannot work beyond a certain amount of money and stay on benefits. You don't have to work, but this is dating back to a 1962 rule. They want to get rid of it. Well, hey, you get rid of the rule right away. Imagine how much better the numbers would have been today for the jobs number. People may have taken jobs if they had wanted to take jobs, but were precluded because of the income exclusion that says they can't take the jobs and not take the money. They will allow you to take money if you want to, $1,000, $2,000 a month, and still stay on benefits. And finally, the marriage penalty. The marriage penalty said if you're a victim of it, they're getting rid of it. If you're facing it, they're getting rid of it. So when would fifth stimulus take effect? It would take effect in around November. Again, recon, two steps, two bills, 2 months. September to October, get it out by November. All right, now let's turn then to what the president said about fifth stimulus today. Why it helps fifth stimulus, helps you, but really misses on in the analysis. The analysis is totally incorrect. He said these numbers out today about the jobs is why we need to send more money to the babies. No. This number has nothing to do with babies. This number has nothing to do with babies. This number has to do with people taking jobs of adult age. So that has nothing to do with the number of today. The president is going back into this discussion of one of the items under his fifth stimulus package. If you remember this channel, the member links at the top of the chat and the pinned comment. One of the provisions he wants in the fifth stimulus package is to pay babies over 6 years $24,000. And Representative Neal, head of the Ways and Means Committee, who would be doing the reconciliation process and writing parts of the bill, he wants to do it over 17 years, $80,000. Now, drop in the comments, what do you think a parent who's getting $84,000 will do? Will they go back to work or just take that $84,000 and stay at home? Interesting situation. So his comments about babies has nothing to do with today's events. It shows he's not on point. Now let's look at what else is in the fifth stimulus package, which may signal that his focus is off point. For example, he has a provision, the second provision, which is in the list of the items, if you're a member of what's in the fifth stimulus package, which is 12 weeks of paid leave. You get to stay at home, get paid 12 weeks. For what? Sick because of COVID? No, because you had a stalker. 12 weeks? 12 weeks, full salary, stay at home? Oh, boy. So this is very interesting. Here's the analysis for that one. If someone's hearing that and saying, Well, the president wants to give me 12 weeks to stay at home because I have a stalker, and goes to apply for a job, and it says to the employer, "Are you going to give me 12 weeks to stay at home if I have a stalker?" No, of course not. I'm not going to give you 12 weeks to stay at home and not work. Well, I'm not going to take the job because the president wants to do that on the fifth stimulus. Make sense? Drop your comments. I'd love to hear them. Then the big one. This is the one that I really am very strong-willed about, and I think you are as well. Hazard pay. Hazard pay. He wants to make the earned income tax credit for hazard pay permanent. That is 19 years or older, $25,000 or less, you get $1,504 as an earned income tax credit hazard pay on your, if you work as hazard pay worker on your tax credit, on your tax return. It's good, but it shows the problem. Let's use the example. You worked at a grocery store during the pandemic. Grocery store would not make it cleaner or safer. You don't feel safe. You would not get hazard pay from the federal government. You wouldn't get hazard pay from them. So you said, no, I don't want to risk my life. I'm going to stay home. So now the president comes along with a hazard pay provision and says, okay, I'll give you $1,500 as a tax credit on your tax return if you go back to that job and take that job. You kidding me? I'm not going to risk my life for a tax credit of $1,500. Give me a tax credit of $6,000, $7,000. Maybe I'll consider taking the job. But I'm not going to risk my life for a measly tax credit of $1,500 when you're giving babies $64,000, $84,000. Here is where the situation is clearly very in our face, where the president is spending too much money on people who are not part of the workforce, babies, and not spending money on people who are part of the workforce. And in the case of the hazard pay, it's a tax credit, it's not a check. So this number should have been much more through the sky. You remember hazard pay in last year, it was $10,000. Why are we at $1,500? It's a slap in the face. So you see how the analysis for the president for fifth stimulus and fourth stimulus is off, but we can keep our mouth closed. Except for me. We can keep our mouth closed. That ultimately, if he says, this is more reason to pass the fourth and fifth stimulus right away. Okay, yeah, thank you. And we'll keep our mouths shut how much we don't like giving $64,000 to young little babies because you're giving the money for SSI reform to the rest of us. You're giving us the multiple stimulus checks of the fourth stimulus package. We can keep our mouth closed and say how much, and not complain about the other stuff you should be spending money on. And we can also just not complain about the analysis of why you're saying things. If we get our money, then we're totally fine with the situation. And at this point, ironically, this is not the first time we have dealt with this with Congress. In 2020, we've had this situation before, where Congress gave us money at a time in which there was no logic to what they're doing, or the way they were doing didn't make sense. But we said, well, if you're giving us the money, we'll take the money. But the analysis is all wrong. And with that, what else is going on? Well, unemployment assistance is really at limbo now, as a series of red states are vowing to no longer apply for FPUC, $300 a week, which could cause FPUC to stop abruptly in a lot of red states. Montana is the first, stopping in June 27th. Then the return of unemployment benefits is coming back from the federal government. I detailed that a lot yesterday, so watch yesterday's video. But let me just basically tell you how it is. If you pay taxes on it, you're getting back that portion of the tax amount you paid. But if you did take out for unemployment and for federal unemployment, did take out for federal taxes for your unemployment in 2020 and have not filed your 2020 tax return, which is due in a few days, make sure you go to a tax preparer, mention that to the tax preparer. Also, if you do have babies and you're waiting for that money, the $3,600 or $3,000 starting the month of July, prorated, and don't file tax returns, or haven't filed your 2020 return, or have not been listing that child on prior tax returns, mention this problem to tax preparers. They got to fix that as well. Then, if you're missing a stimulus check, first, second, or third, IRS this week gave an advisory. File that tax return right away to request those missing stimulus checks. That is the only way you can get those missing stimulus checks, filing a tax return. And then finally, the eviction moratorium, the CDC eviction moratorium. I know it may have been confusing to some. I think most of you are tracking the news on this, so I think you're up to date. I've seen your comments. Initially was in place. Federal District Court in D.C., just one jurisdiction, ruled it invalid. An appeal was filed. A stay was put in place, which said they cannot get rid of it, but it leaves everyone guessing what's happening where you are. And then the businesses. Shuttered Venue Grant Live. I don't think it's paying yet. Restaurant Grant Live. It is not paid yet. EIDL Grant 5000 never went live. Real controversy about that one. And the remainder $10,000 EIDL grant, yeah, I am seeing a lot of people who got the invite, responded to it, and was blanketly denied across the board. So that is the sort of the other side of the equation, which I didn't do this recording, which is perhaps the employers are not being given enough money from the federal government in the third stimulus, which they aren't. I mean, that's just, no. They aren't being given any money from the federal government on the third stimulus. So employees may not be returning back to work because of 1,000 reasons, and the employers don't have the money to make those modifications, whatever they are, whether the place needs to be more sanitary or the salaries need to be 5 times higher, not 3 times higher, 2 times higher. A lot of questions across the board. But we'll stay focused. And I'll see you next on Evenings LA. That's in 2 hours from now. And then we go into LA Late Night. It's been a big day of breaking news. And if I went a little bit fast, I apologize. You can always use the toggle on the bottom of the screen to replay any part that you may have missed. And with that, I want you to subscribe to this channel. Be part of this incredible family. Thank you for your incredible, insightful, educated, really word on the street comments. People said, I went to this store and this is shopping, I applied here and this happened to me. Keep that coming, because we see that as a family. We see what's happening in other jurisdictions. Also say what state it is. I did this in my state and this happened. So we see what's happening, because that's how we learn from one another. Also like this video and consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, keep on smiling. It's days like this where your head wants to sort of shake and you're like, oh my goodness. And I'll see you next on Evenings LA. And stay informed.